one of the themes discussed at this year's World Economic Africa Conference is the need for infrastructure development. It is seen as the driver of economic growth, yet Africa has a long way to go in this sector. Chris Bishop sat down with Suresh Chaturvedi, the CEO of Overseas Infrastructure Alliance, to get his views on the solutions for addressing the current infrastructure deficit on the continent. Let's take a look.
If you see last 7 to 8 years, the total investment from BRICS country has been almost more than $30 to $35 billion, because India itself has invested around $8.5 billion in last 5 to 7 countries. Further, India has a program of giving $1 billion per year to Africa, and they made a specific plan of $5 billion, which was announced in Maputo in Ethiopia by the Prime Minister of India. China has almost committed the project worth $30 billion in different parts of Africa. Brazil is very active now, coming into railway of Ethiopia, Mozambique. They have been last 3 years working. So what I think next 5 to 10 years from BRICS country, I think between $50 to $75 billion investment, because they are the major player nowadays in Africa infrastructure.
And what kind of returns are people looking for with this investment? I mean, is it going to be competitive returns?
Any infrastructure project takes long time. And I think these countries, because has gone through that process of building infrastructure on its own, they are not looking at a near future return, as a this thing, because mostly things are happening between government to government.
So what kind of areas countries in the BRICS nations going to be looking at in Africa?
Agro-based,
yeah.
That is one. That is whole full base, agro, water, everything comes into that. And the logistic of agro, storage, transportation, that. The second area is power, which is a big area, and the distribution, because all over Africa requires that. And the third is logistic, because the logistic cost in Africa is around 30%. The developed world is 4%, developing world is 7%. So it's a disadvantage in exporting and importing. So railway, roads, aviation. So these are the area in logistics.
Looking at the Africa infrastructure story, what problems do you see for the future?
The problem mostly is a wholesome approach, because this is not a trading situation, it is a project. Project means a lot of stakeholder, from shipping agency to the port, to local transport, and then reaching local capacity building, integrating people together, training, development, working in isolation place, so all healthcare and everything. So then taxation, then all authority help which is required to do, because in projects and infrastructure, 50% you have to do where you are in with that country. So you need all the logistic around. So integrated approach is very important, which is little missing.
And another question that's been raised by many of the people we've interviewed so far is a lack of skills in Africa. How are the investors going to tackle that?
I will not take this as a constraint, but definitely irritant. Because anybody who's coming to Africa knows that Africa was not a country which was making infrastructure. So, but in infrastructure, what happened, there are different labels. You need very low skill, medium skill, high skill. So what we have done in 1 or 2 countries, that we started 10% doing local. Now we have almost reached to 50%, and the people have started learning, training. That is helping 2 ways. Number 1, inclusive growth. Number 2, increasing of GDP, because the money is moved inside onto this. And number 3, there are a lot of job availability, and tomorrow for operation and maintenance, you not to go back to those original countries, so it gives you a lot of development inside.
And just lastly, very briefly, you're based in Mozambique, as I said in the intro. What sort of projects are you working on there?
Electrification, mostly electrification. Last 10 years we have been working. We have done almost 2,000 kilometers of transmission and distribution. And we are further going to be there on generation part, and again in railway on all this.